This is my 100th try to be able to shoot this video, but we are going strong and this will, I think, be the last time I'm shooting it. Anyway, hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aashka Maheta. I hope you all are doing great, and in today's video I want to talk about some of the books that I'm most fond of, and these are the ones that I won't hear any criticism about and I hope you enjoy this video. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, talking about the first book, it is often that we get to hear about people who are suffering from mental illness, what they are going through or what they went through, but it is also necessary to read about people who are in close proximity to people who are suffering from mental illness. I must have probably said people too many times, but you get the point. Anyway, moving forward, this book consists of numerous stories telling about their brothers or their sisters or their parents or their girlfriend or boyfriend who has been suffering from a mental condition such as depression, anxiety or schizophrenia, and what they all went through it and how were their emotions throughout this process. And sometimes it consists of so much of guilt to be not able to provide them with the happiness that they deserve, and it can be very surreal to read about. It can be gut-wrenching at times and even overwhelming, but and also you will be crying your eyes out while reading this book, but I think it is a very necessary read and I hope you do pick it up. Moving forward to the second book, I think a lot of you must have already heard about it or already have read it, and this is called A Man Called O by Frederick Beckman. That's right, it is one of my favorite books this year. And talking further about A Man Called Ove, I first picked it up and read a few pages, then I DNF'd it. For the second time that I picked it up, I read a few chapters and DNF'd it again, and as you say, third time is the charm. I finally read it, and now that I have read it, I cannot get enough of talking about it. I just am amazed by how beautiful this book is. And to tell you the plot of this book, it is about a man called O, obviously, but the story begins with O, who is on a quest to die, and he presumes that it is not that difficult. The reason behind why O wants to die is that his wife Sophia, the only person in this entire world who understood O and who thought O was a sweet person instead of a bitter or a grumpy person, was not with him anymore, and all he wants is just to be with Sophia. I mean, how heart-touching and how freaking beautiful is that. You got to read this book, and I would urge you all to read this book. There are so many beautiful lines in this book. I would say the book begins slow, but as soon as you pick up the pace of this book, you cannot put it down, and there are so many beautiful lines in this book, and I would like to read some of it to you so that you get the idea. Now, there are so many lines that have been famous for this book, but the one that I am most fond of is, and so it turned out that O became a night cleaner instead. And if this hadn't happened, he would never have come off his shift that morning and caught sight of her, with those red shoes and gold brooch and all her burnished brown hair, and that laughter of hers, which for the rest of his life would make him feel as if someone was running around barefoot on the inside of his breast. She often said that all roads lead to something you were always predestined to do, and for her perhaps it was something, but for Ove it was someone. And it is so very beautiful. I cannot describe you enough. I don't have adjectives to describe it. And there is this line which is very famous for this book, and the one line that makes you want to read this entire book. People said, oh, saw the world in black and white, but she was color, all the color he had. I mean, can anything be more beautiful than this? Frederick Beckman has such beautiful writing. The grief component of this book has been portrayed even more flamboyantly, and I cannot sell you enough for you to read this book. So go and read this book already. Talking about the third book in this video, it has been my most recent read, and I don't know if anything can top of Titli by Man of Kaale. It is the most lyrical writing, so very realistic. I don't know if I would be doing a great job at representing metaphors, but it is just like when someone massages your tender point, that feeling of relief. This book has done that for me, and I'm so glad that I read it. And I also want to read some of the lines from this book so that you get the idea and you also would want to desperately to read this book. Okay, so this goes as, किताब एक विलाप है, गहरे अंधेरे में टटोलते हाथ है, तेज हवा में आंखों में रेत की किरकिरी है, कम ऑक्सीजन में छाती का ऊपर उठना है और नीचे बैठ जाना है, मृत्यु है पर ठीक मृत्यु नहीं है, मृत्यु के अगल बगल की दीवारों को अपने नाखूनों से खरोचने की आवाज़ें हैं. And it is so beautiful, I mean so flamboyant, chef's kiss. Man of Kaale in the beginning of this book talks about that when you read a book or after you have read a book, आप अपनी छोटे से तालाब में नदी पा सकते हैं, and this book did that for me. I didn't know much about when I started reading Titli. I cannot sell you enough for you to read this book, and I would just want you to read it. I am out of words, but it is my most favorite one, and so deeply I have connected with it. So I hope you find that too in this book, and if you do, let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you again next time. Until then, keep reading. Bye bye.